This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Hey guys, guess where I am? Don't be jealous, but I'm in the Bahamas, man, and at a really cool place. We're talking the Humane Society of Grand Bahama. This place has been around for 50 years. We just got a cool tour of the wonderful dogs and cats, and with us today is our special guest. She's the executive director, and her name is Tip Burrows. Welcome to the show, Tip.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to learn more about what's going on here at the Humane Society of the Grand Bahama after we pay for the show by taking a quick commercial break. So you guys know the drill. Sit, stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a pause. 4 furry ones, actually. Sit and stay. Oh Behave will be right back.
Hey folks, Arden Moore here. I want to talk to you about grass. All right, not that grass. I'm talking about doggy grass. Come on. For those times when your poor dog is home alone, you don't want their 4 legs crossed. You don't want to come home to a piddle surprise. So our friends at Doggy Lawn have the solution. They have real grass. Yeah, delivered to you. And it absorbs odors. It's not messy. It's just the natural place to beckon a dog to potty. It's terrific if you live in a motorhome or in an apartment. You name it. I want you all to go to doggylawn.com. And if you put in doggylawn.com/ohbehave, you'll get a discount. Woohoo! And every new subscription, Doggy Lawn donates a much-needed item to a local dog shelter. So if you go to doggylawn.com/ohbehave, you're going to get a discount on your first shipment. Woohoo!
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now, back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I am your roving reporter, Arden Moore, and I'm landed in Freeport, Bahama. This is the place you've got to go when you come to visit. It is the Humane Society of the Grand Bahama, and with me at a picnic table on a beautiful day in January, is the executive director, Tip Burrows. Thank you so much for making time for us today, Tip.
Yeah, no, thank you. We appreciate you visiting and always love to show people around our shelter and talk to them about what we do here.
Well, it's you got a special anniversary you just made, 50 years. Tell us a little bit about the Golden Jubilee.
Yes, we were actually established in 1968. We're one of the oldest nonprofits on our island. We, over the years, have grown to what you see today. When we started out, I wasn't around back then. But
no, she looks ageless, folks.
No, but we were in a little 2-room building closer to downtown on a much smaller property, maybe half an acre. This is 2.5 acres. And we have about 8,000 square feet under roofs. So we have 4 kennel buildings and a big office building with a clinic, and then we have a separate cattery.
You know, we met the cats and the kittens, and they want to tell you personally that they appreciate having their own cattery away from the DOGs.
Yeah, that's kind of important for the cats. When we first built this new facility in 2008, thanks to the generosity of some big supporters, and our cats used to be inside in the main office building. There was one section for them, but we were able to hire our first veterinarian in 2011.
Nice.
And so we've had to sort of, rethink spaces and whatnot. And so we had somebody who actually built us this cattery so we could move the cats and have a better clinic space for our vet.
So on average day, about how many dogs are up for adoption, and cats and kittens?
We have anywhere between 125 and 150 dogs and puppies on any given day, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less.
Okay.
And around 75 to 100 cats and kittens.
Okay. And are we in any kind of season right now? Kitten season's more in the spring, right?
Yeah, spring and summer. So no, we're not necessarily. I mean, we still get the odd litter and the odd, but the kittens will really start turning up usually around April and May.
Well, I got a lot of peas I'm going to unleash right now because we're in paradise with pot cats and pot cakes.
Right.
Please humbly explain what that means.
Sure. The term pot cakes originated because a popular Bahamian food staple is something called peas and rice.
Okay.
It's delicious, by the way. You may have had it. If you haven't, before you leave, you should try it.
All right.
And so back in the day, people, when you make peas and rice the right way, you usually end up with a cake at the bottom of the pot.
Okay.
And that's called the pot cake. And so years ago, that was typically scraped out and thrown out the back door for the dogs. So over the years, they've come to be known as pot cakes. And then, a lot of us in the Bahamian rescue world have also begun calling our cats pot cats because they are kind of distinctive. A lot of people that meet our cats that are used to cats in the States, our cats are typically smaller than your average domestic short-hair cat in the U.S. And their ears they're not different enough but they're a little different.
How would you say? Describe.
Just maybe a little smaller. I don't know, and they have really unique personalities, just like our pot cakes.
And I don't see any medium or long hair. They're all short hair.
Yeah, pretty much all short hair.
You think weather had a factor in?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. They say that a lot of the pot cakes originated back in the American Civil War. A lot of people came to the Bahamas from the Carolinas.
Really?
And if you've ever heard of a Carolina dog, it's actually a breed of dog, and it's a fairly old breed of dog, I guess.
Right.
And so it was thought, or it's supposedly, a lot of people brought those dogs here. And if you look at a picture of a Carolina dog and look at a lot of different pictures of pot cakes, you can see a lot of the same traits.
Well, for radio listeners, can you visualize a little bit? Because we just got greeted by a pack of happy pot cakes. Yeah. So what are they typically, what kind of markings?
Well, the Carolina dog is actually kind of a plainish dog. I mean, I think they're beautiful, but they're usually brownish, like light brown to maybe like a cream color, but mostly light kind of golden brown.
Okay.
Short-haired dogs. They're medium size. I think they probably average 50 to 60 pounds. When fully grown, they have not a pointed muzzle, but a longer muzzle. Not as long as, say, a shepherd, but not a
like
short
a terrier,
muzzle either.
Maybe?
No, more of a, I don't know.
Okay.
Just a longer muzzle, but nothing is like exaggeratedly.
Right.
I think their ears are usually up, but again, not as tall as shepherd ears. They're kind of rangy looking dogs. They're really pretty dogs, and when you read about them, I just remember a lot of the traits that they have seem to. But then, of course, over the years, as people have brought in different breeds of dogs, the pot cakes have evolved to the point now that we see a lot. There's not so much a typical pot cake anymore because we do have long-haired pot cakes. We have short-haired, medium-haired, all different colors that you could imagine. So there's more, what I would say, the most more shepherd, Labrador, even pit bull characteristics are getting mixed in.
There were a couple pitties out there that were very sweet.
Yes.
I call them meaty cheeks because when they smile, they got that meaty cheeks.
We have some great pit bulls here at our shelter.
Yeah.
And we have the same challenges adopting them out that everyone in the States does as well. It's just harder because of the misconceptions out there about the breed.
Nanny dogs got a bad rap.
I know, they did.
Now, I was doing a little homework on you. I think it's hilarious that you're in the Bahamas, but you're from Frostproof, Florida.
Yeah.
Really? There's such a city?
There is
Where
such
is
a city. It's almost right in the middle of the state.
Okay, what county?
Polk County.
Oh, okay.
Polk.
So does that mean you were destined to never deal with snow, you think?
Probably.
Okay.
I guess, because I've never lived anywhere.
You've never
further
scraped your
north,
car? with ice?
Maybe once or twice. I went to school in Alabama.
Okay.
And so maybe once or twice.
All right.
But no, not so much.
So you've been here since 2003?
I've been in the Bahamas for 28 years.
Okay.
And I've been with the Humane Society for the last almost 19 now.
Okay. Tell me what drew you here. To the islands and then here.
Well, to the islands was my love of the water and diving, snorkeling, things like that. And then
it's not far from Florida either, right?
No, it's, hop, skip, and a jump on a boat and a plane.
Yeah.
And then I've always loved animals. Grew up, don't remember ever not having multiple animals. My parents had dogs and cats before they had children, and my sister and I were always bringing home strays and keeping them. I don't remember my mom ever saying no. And so I've always loved and I've never not had pets. So I started volunteering here, and it just evolved.
Wow.
And
so you have a mission. What's your mission here? I thought I was reading online. What's your mission here at the Humane Society of Grand Bahama?
Well, our mission is to reduce, actually we'd love to alleviate completely the pet overpopulation here on Grand Bahama. And we would like to stop, animal cruelty. There's a lot of, education is a big thing that's needed. There's some cultural biases towards animals and, especially pets. Yeah, and that too. That part's getting better.
You were mentioning when you came here, there is some cultural differences. So when it comes to the animals on the island, what are some of the special challenges you face?
Just getting people to recognize that animals have feelings too, and that they're sentient beings, and there's kind of a disconnect between animals and people, whereas animals are looked at more as objects and not necessarily creatures with feelings. Now that's not everyone,
right?
And it is changing, but we still encounter a good bit of that, and also what I probably would call, instead of outright, there is some intentional outright cruelty, but more than that, we see a lot of what I call benign neglect, where animals are just not cared for the way that they should be, and it's not necessarily someone intentionally being cruel to them, but just not knowing
like
any
getting
better.
Vaccinated or flea and tick medicine.
Yeah, not getting veterinary care, chaining them up without proper shape. Well, chaining, we don't sanction anyway, but especially without shade and shelter. It's not illegal to tether dogs here. We're working on that, but
well, are they allowed in restaurants or anything like that?
Not very many.
We have not seen a lot of dogs. We went to Port
Lucaya.
We didn't see one dog. Where are all the dogs on the island?
In people's homes and yards. But it's not really, most restaurants don't allow them. It's just not, you just don't see it here like you do in the States, where they're not. Dogs and cats still have a ways to go here before they're treated like real family members in many cases. Again, not everyone. There are wonderful pet owners here, but there's a lot that, the dogs are supposed to stay in the yard and guard the house, and people don't want cats in the house. And
wow,
yeah.
So you want this? You like that? You have a challenge,
Yeah. And the bigger part of it too is the overpopulation problem. So we do a lot of spay neuter. We do free spay and neuter. People can't afford it. We probably 90% of our spays and neuters are not paid for.
Wow.
So of course we have to find the money to perform those surgeries.
And you are completely based on donations?
Yes.
Wow.
We are not supported by the government. We're the only animal shelter, animal welfare agency on this whole island. This island is 510 square miles.
Wow.
And about 50,000 human people on the island.
Yeah.
And so it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But no, we've never received a penny from the government of the Bahamas. The Grand Bahama Port Authority supports us to the tune of about 40% of our operating budget.
Okay.
And we have to find the rest of it through donations and fundraisers. So it's tough.
Wow. So you just had a fundraiser last night, or Saturday. Tell us a little bit about this.
Well, that was our annual President's Cocktail Party. Our organization is a registered nonprofit in the Bahamas, and we're run by a board of directors. So our president, we hold a cocktail party every January to thank our members, because we have paid memberships. And people can come out and renew their memberships or sign up for new ones.
Nice.
And
you were at the Garden of the Grove, which
we were at the Garden of the Grove.
went to, and What a beautiful place.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about the island.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, sometimes folks like myself, we come here and we're staying at a place and there's these beautiful community cats. They seem to be very healthy. I'm hoping they're spayed and neutered, but some people want to bring them home. So if somebody comes to the Bahamas and they fall in love, they're smitten by a kitten or they're charmed by a canine, what do they need to do using your agency to be able to get this pup or cat home?
They need to have their basic vaccinations, which we can do here, and they need a health certificate to get back into the U.S. The animal needs to be at least 8 weeks old.
Okay.
So given a couple of days notice, we can, help make all that happen.
Okay.
We also actually have carriers here, pet carriers that we can loan people, and they just send them back to us.
Very nice.
So, yeah, that actually happens more than you might think.
Really? Can you share a story?
Yeah, sure. Last year we had, and it's usually in the areas where the hotels are, of course, because people are walking on the beach and they encounter these dogs or cats.
Yeah.
And so last year we had a lady that was staying at, I think it was Island Seas, and she found a dog on the beach and brought it in, found us online and called us, and we went and picked up the dog. It had some minor injuries and skin ailments and stuff like that, but she sponsored the dog. It was an adult dog, a large, probably 50-pound dog, so she couldn't take him on the plane with her when she left. But she sponsored his care while he was here, and once he was healthy enough and he was neutered, then we got him over to the States and flew him up to, I think she's in the Boston area.
Okay.
And we've done that a number of times.
It's called, you have a name for that,
we call it Operation Puppy Lift.
Okay,
but it includes cats too, but it's more dogs.
So how are they flying there? Are they going like first class?
Well, they actually, when we fly them out of here, they are flown on a local air cargo plane, which is a very spacious plane, so they're not in a belly of a plane or whatever.
Nice.
And they go to Florida, and then we have volunteers in Florida who pick them up, clear them through customs, and then get them on to their next destination. If we fly dogs, it's usually Delta Cargo. I've had very good experiences with them for the last 18 years. Never a problem.
But do you always have on occasion for the southern states, maybe somebody does like a puppy drive?
Yeah. In fact, I actually went to Florida a few months ago, back in October. We were having a problem getting 5 dogs to a rescue in Ohio that was taking them. And so a friend of mine and I actually drove these 5 dogs to Virginia.
Really?
And the rescue drove down and met us to trade the dogs off. So yeah, we do have volunteers that'll drive certain distances with them. So
sounds great. So if people want to help you out and they live in the States, they may become part of Operation Puppy Lift.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that sounds good. How was your drive? Did they try to change the channel on the radio a lot? Or?
No, they were actually really good.
How long of a drive was it?
It was 11 hours one way.
Oh my gosh.
And on the way back, it was so funny. We were both looking at each other going, this feels weird. There's no dogs in the car. But they were good. They weren't noisy or anything. They did good on their brakes. Nobody had accidents in their crates or anything.
And what kind of dogs were they? How old?
There was actually, that group was 3 German Shepherds and 3 German Shepherds and 2 Cockades.
Hey everybody, we're talking with Tip Burrows. She's the executive director of the Humane Society of the Grand Bahama. There's a Bahama, not a Bahamas. See, I'm learning, right? All right. So what's the 411 on your babies at home? What kind of pets do you have?
Well, right now I only have 2 dogs.
Okay.
And they're both pot cakes.
Okay.
I had 7 at one time, and that was a little bit much, especially when I'm working every day. So right now I'm down to 2.
And what are their names?
And their names are Mary, Merry, because she came in at Christmas time.
Oh, nice.
And Jake.
Oh, okay. And what's Mary like?
Mary's a beautiful little 36-pound, red, long-haired, fluffy pot cake.
Wow. Okay, how old is she?
She is about 4.
Okay, and what's her personality like?
She's just a love bug. She just loves everybody and everything except for birds, cats, rats, and anything that crawls or moves. She's
all right.
She doesn't look like she would be a hunter dog, but she is.
Okay.
She has brought me presents.
What's your favorite scary present she brought you?
A rat.
Oh, was the rat still alive?
And then she chased a pigeon in the house one day also.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
That was really nice.
What about Jake?
Jake is a 10-year-old Pakik. He's blonde. He's more Labradorish looking, except smaller. He's about 55 pounds. Okay. And he's a sweetie. I had him. He was brought in as a puppy to one of our spay-neuter clinics in 2009. And he was tiny. And he was too little to be neutered, plus he was sick. So the vet couldn't neuter him. And at the end of the day, the people who brought him in never came for him. So I ended up taking him home with me for the night. Yeah. Because I didn't want to drive all the way back to the shelter at 9 o'clock at night. And then, and I tried calling the people, and they never called or anything. So he was here for about 2 weeks, and my husband, and it was right before Valentine's Day, and my husband said something to me one day about, well, I don't know why you took that puppy back to the shelter. That was the best behaved puppy you've ever brought here. I'm like, oh. So, anyway, I got Jake for my Valentine's present.
And what's Jake like today?
Jake is a mama's boy. I confess I spoiled him. At the time that I got him, I had 6 other big dogs at home, and I didn't want to leave him at home in a crate all day long, so I would bring him to work with me every day. And at that time, I also had an office dog named Sponge. It was a big red pit bull. And she sort of became his surrogate mother as well. And so he was raised by me and Sponge, and he was spoiled. But he's a sweetie. He's also a very friendly, sweet dog.
What are some things that people would be surprised about? Do people come here to visit the shelter when they get here? Because you got the beaches. Well, you used to have casinos. I'm betting they're not there anymore. So what kind of draw? I mean, what kind of folks come to see you when they're on vacation?
Well, the nice thing about our location is that we're off the beaten path, which is not always a good thing. But we're on a relatively small island, so the people who live here know where we are, and we're not disturbing, close neighbors, because there's nobody right next to us out here. But the other nice thing is that we're on one of the main thoroughfares from the airport to the hotel area. So a lot of visitors see our sign and see our building on their way to their hotels, and we do get a fair amount of people who either rent a car or come in a taxi or rent scooters and want to come see the place. And then sometimes people will look us up before they visit. Excuse me. And say they're going to be visiting. Is there anything they can bring for us?
What can people bring? They're coming to Freeport. What would you love if you had a wish list?
Yeah, well, one thing that we're always grateful for is treats for the dogs and cats.
All right.
They're pricey here, and it's not something we can afford to buy regularly.
Okay.
And you can bring some lightweight bags of treats, thinking about what you can carry in a...
I guess that means I have to come back, because I have to bring... I'm known as Treat Lady, so I'm going to have to bring it back. Okay.
Anytime. Collars and leashes, toys.
Okay.
Toys are sort of a luxury for our animals as well.
One of them grabbed my notebook and had fun with it.
I bet.
Yeah, it was fun. We were chasing him. He's like, catch me, catch me.
Yeah. And of course money. I mean, we're probably over 50% of our individual donations come from abroad.
Wow.
And we have we've had this Operation Puppy Lift program for the last 18 years, so we have a lot of adopters abroad, and we've worked with a lot of different rescues. So, a lot of people are aware of the work that we're doing and the challenges we have. So money is always needed and always welcome.
Where do you see this place in 5 years? I hope you're still at the helm.
I hope so, too. I plan to be. I think in 5 years, I hope that we've seen our intake reduce over the last few years, and I'm not sure it's long enough to call it a trend yet.
Okay.
So in 5 years, I hope that we can definitely call it a trend, and it will keep going downwards. Because obviously the goal of any animal shelter should be to put itself out of business.
Right.
But, I mean, realistically, there will always be a need, but we're hoping that the overpopulation part of the problem will be drastically reduced to where we don't have this surplus that we can't find homes for locally. Only about 10% of our animals get adopted locally.
Really? Really? That's an amazing stat. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's because it's more of a cultural thing?
It's just we want our animals to be part of a family. We will adopt dogs out to be outdoor dogs in certain circumstances, but fences must be secure. Yes, that's one of our feral cats that lives in our front yard here.
Okay, who is that? We interrupt this radio broadcast to bring you a beautiful white with tabby color markings. And who is that?
I'm not sure if that's Betty or that's Betty.
Betty, which one are you, Betty? And who's the other one? Betty and...
I don't remember the name.
We'll call you Wilma. All right, Betty and Wilma. All right. So they just come out and hang out?
They have their little shelters here in the front away from the dogs.
Okay.
And they're fed and watered every day, and they're free to come and go, and most of them just stick around.
Wow.
And the funny part is it's that one, whichever one that is, I think is the one. As soon as we leave for the day, climbs the fence and wanders all over the back of the shelter. It's like she knows that the dogs are locked up and can't get to her. But in the morning, she's out again. It's so funny.
Oh, my gosh.
But
now, how does this compare to... I know there's 700 islands in the Bahamas, but not many are occupied.
No.
I want to do a little trivia. All right, tell me a little bit about the Bahamas that would surprise people. How many islands are really occupied about?
I think there's only about 20-something that are actually inhabited.
That's crazy.
And when they say 700 islands, it's a lot of those are what you call keys, which is spelled C-A-Y-S.
Right.
And some of them may be nothing more than a big rock sticking up out of the water. But a lot of people don't realize, a lot of people will actually email us and say, we're coming to the Bahamas, what can we bring you? And then I'm like, what island are you going to? And they tell me the island. I'm like, we're X number of miles away from there. Let me hook you up with the group down there. So a lot of people are surprised, I guess, to realize how big the Bahamas is. We encompass 100,000 square miles.
I did not know that. Okay, see, now you're helping me here.
Yeah.
And it goes
almost down
from
to
West Palm Beach all the way down to Cuba?
Right.
Wow.
Almost to Cuba.
Wow.
And so yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how far apart some of the islands are. Like we're 140 miles from Nassau, which is the capital. And the only way to get there is on a boat or a plane. But we're one of the closest islands to the U.S. mainland. West End, Grand Bahama, is 55 miles from the Palm Beach Inlet.
What is it? How long?
West End, 55 miles.
Wow. Can you swim 55 miles,
No.
Tip? Okay. All right. Wow. That's a quick ride. So it actually would get closer to get to Florida than to Nassau, time-wise?
Yeah, much quicker.
Okay. Oh, that's so funny.
I know. Yeah, it is. But we're almost in the very northwestern corner of the Bahamas.
Okay.
And Walker's Key is a little more north of us, but we're in the northwest Bahamas, and then you have the central Bahamas and the southeast Bahamas. And so, yeah.
Is it true you guys only have to go get your mail at a post office? You don't have home delivery?
That's true.
How far away is your home from the post office?
Probably about 10 miles.
So if I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff...
Don't send it by mail.
Oh.
Our mail is really slow.
So what's the best way to send things?
If it's packages and stuff, you send them through an air freight forwarder. Mail is difficult. So a lot of people have mail service that they pay for. I don't have that personally because I don't really have that much mail from the U.S.
Yeah.
So, but there's ways you can get mail quicker, but locally.
So you don't get junk mail. There's one beauty.
Not very much junk mail at all. Mostly bills.
Yeah.
But if you wait till you get it in the mail, it's going to be late. So you have to just right.
So you got to do a lot.
So a lot of people do online.
Yeah.
I do online.
Any famous celebrities here that have ever adopted a pup or kitten?
Not on Grand Bahama that I'm aware of.
All right. Yeah. Right. Should we
not yet?
Should we call Oprah?
Yeah. I mean, potcakes make the greatest pets. They really do. They're so funny and quirky and loyal and smart. They're really smart dogs, and the cats are too. Cats.
Well, I was impressed how they're all hanging out together, the cats. They like each other.
Yeah.
Even the adult cats were like in a big old
Pretty
mush pile.
much, right, yeah.
So it is the
and the
island
dogs,
life.
too. We have play groups, as you saw.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. But I do know that Lenny Kravitz has a potcake or two.
Oh.
I know one of them, it may just be one. His name is Leroy Brown. And...
did he get it from here or from maybe Nassau?
I think Eleuthera, because he's from, I think he has a house on Eleuthera.
Okay.
Shania Twain has a potcake and a potcat.
Oh, nice.
Those are two that I can think of off the top of my head.
All right. We'll start a movement.
Yeah.
What's coming up now this year in 2019 that maybe we can have our listeners help you out in? I know you have a couple events in March.
Yeah. Our annual dog show is the 2nd of March.
Okay.
And we've been having that for, I think, close to 50 years.
All right. Are they wearing fashionable items?
Well, we have it's kind of a mix between a real dog show and a fun one.
Uh-huh.
So there's kind of something for everyone. We have a dog and owner lookalike category.
Okay.
Best dog trick, things like that. And then we have the best of breeds, like we just do the sporting group, all the groups. We don't have each individual
all 7
breed.
Groups, right? Okay. All right. Take that, AKC.
So it's a lot of fun, and
it's like the Westminster on a beach.
Sort of like, yeah.
Okay. All right.
But it's a lot of fun. We usually also have a raffle that day, and we have a bar. And I don't know if you've noticed since you've been here, but you can't go very far without hitting a bar.
No.
And so you don't have events here without a bar.
Okay.
Even in the daytime. So there's a bar, there's a food stand, and usually face painting for the kids, maybe pony rides, activities for kids. Kind of like a family fun day, but a chance to show off your dog and win some prizes.
And then later in the month, you have a marathon?
Later in the month, we have some wonderful supporters who started this race 5 years ago and made us their beneficiaries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Dog Days Half Marathon, and we're the primary beneficiary of the proceeds from it, which has been a huge help to us.
Yeah.
And it's a big event. I think they've had 600 runners last year.
Wow.
So every year it's more and more. Just wonderful.
And you know what they say about half marathons? You're only half crazy.
That's right.
There you go.
There you go.
13.1 is so much nicer than...
If you can't run a half, you can run a 10K or a 5K, and there's also a 1 mile fun run walk. And you could bring your dog for any of those as well.
Hey, folks, we've been speaking with Tip Burrows. She's the executive director of the Humane Society of the Grand Bahama. And we're actually at a picnic bench on this beautiful, it's not, probably almost 70 degrees. I hear the palm trees swaying. I see a kitty over here perched looking at me saying, this is my best side. No, this is my best side. It's a beautiful bright yellow building as the entryway. And if you're coming or going to the airport, it's a must stop. And please, if you can, bring some goodies, some bags of treats and other things in your suitcase and come home with souvenirs. But is there anything else you'd like to add? I really appreciate you being a guest on our show, Tip.
No, we really appreciate it. Just that we welcome visitors from all over the place, and we welcome support. It's often kind of lonely and being the only animal agency here. So we love it when people reach out to us, and you can look us up. Our website is humanesocietygb.org.
humanesocietygb.org.
And we're also on Facebook, Humane Society of Grand Bahama. So, like our page and follow what we're doing and see if there's a way you'd like to help or if there's an animal you'd like to adopt.
There you go. So, folks, that's it. We're here. I hate to say we're leaving pot cats and pot cakes from paradise and going back to the States. Before we end this wonderful episode from this place of paradise, I got to do a special shout out to a friend I met here in Freeport. He's a cab driver. His name is, you ready, Chico? I promise, Chico Hall. And he loves animals, and he is one of the friendliest, safest drivers I've ever met. Everywhere I went on the island, I would be walking and I'd hear him drive by and go, "Hey, Arden!" He loves Pet Life Radio, and I am so happy to do a shout-out, as promised, for you, Chico. So if you're in the Freeport area, please give him a call, and he will get you anywhere you need to go. Obviously, at this time, too, I want to do a special salute to Tip Burrows, the executive director here at the Humane Society of Grand Bahama, and all the great staff and volunteers that help these pot cakes and pot cats get homes. And finally, there's a little P.S. to this. As I was flying home from this episode, there was a gentleman that was on the plane with a cat that he adopted from the islands. So I want to give also a big thank you to Max Potvin. He lives in Maine. He adopted a little kitten here from the island, and he's naming the cat Arnie. Finally, as always, I salute my executive producer, Mark Winter, the Wizard of Paws. He is the man behind all the successful shows here on Pet Life Radio. So it's been a great time in paradise. but it's time to bid adieu. So this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave, man!
Coast to coast and around the world, it's All Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. All Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.